I must stop the presses to tell you something huge. Today, I didn't know till I woke up, is the 3-year anniversary of Rise and Shine. So 3 years ago, I had this great idea to do this phone call. But I gotta tell you, really, I had the idea 4 years ago and I didn't move on it at first. And then one day I decided October 1st is going to be the day and I'm just going to start. So sometimes you just gotta pick a day and start. And who knows, 3 years later, you could have enhanced it, gotten better with it every day, and technology could have evolved where you could do it live on Facebook from my living room to yours. Well, it's really my office. But anyway, good morning and happy Monday. Let me push some buttons on this phone thing over here. Have a great day. All right, here we go. Good morning, everybody. I got an awesome lesson that I want to share with you. And it actually, strangely enough, was inspired a little bit by Insecure's season finale last night. And don't worry, no spoilers. I'm not going to spoil anything for you. But the subject of tone and aggression was on my mind yesterday. And then it came up in the show. So when things like that happen, that absolutely means that I need to cover this subject. So I know we have men that watch and view, and I do want you to stick by and stay. But this morning, I'm talking more specifically to the ladies, because these words that have been used to define us at different times in our lives, particularly in work environments, are not the most positive words. Yet, we are supposed to be able to deal with being called whatever, being told to be however, and then conform. But what I think men don't understand about what's really important, and men, I'm talking to you too. I'm just talking to my ladies this morning. Sydney, don't go away. But I really want for you to understand how much words play a role, but words only have the meaning that you give them. So the first word that came to mind when thinking about this subject was the word tone. Watch your tone. I've been told this, okay? And depending on the time and the situation, I have lots of tones. My lots of tones is what makes me great at being understood as a speaker. So in speaking and talking to someone, my tone and intonation definitely is clear about what it is that I'm saying. Sometimes I am exuberantly happy and I can pull that out. Sometimes I need to be absolutely serious. Sometimes I need to be stern. Sometimes I need to absolutely get my point across, and that's when I'm really quiet. All of these different things and all of this range of Monique Spence, all of it is me. It's who I am. It is me being authentically me. When someone tells me, watch your tone, you're saying who you are being authentically you in this moment is not okay. Well, I've wrestled with this over the years in different ways that I've heard it. I've heard it in work in corporate, places when I was in the music business and I had to sit in that conference room and I was the only black person in the room and sometimes the only woman in the room, and I would speak my mind about something. They would, well, Monique, your tone was a little aggressive. Which brings me to the next word I want to talk about, because the definition of this lesson is words only have the meaning that you give them. Now, I mean this about all words, but in particular on today, we're going to talk about the range of things that cause tone. So then there is aggressive. Well, when women are aggressive in the workplace, and that was the subject of one of the subject matters covered on Insecure last night. And so when you are being told you're being aggressive, this means you're supposed to back down, right? Does aggressive mean I'm doing it wrong? Or does aggressive in this moment mean this is what the moment called for? And if I have to assert aggression, that's just what is required in the moment. We have been told so long that these things are not okay. So when someone calls you on it, you're supposed to conform. Well, what happens when a man at home is telling you to conform one way and your boss is telling you to conform another way and your girlfriends are saying, well, if you want to get a man and you can't be. And so all of this conforming that we've done, we have mixed up some Rubik's Cube version of ourselves that is not who we are. So I wanted to get some real live definitions for these words this morning. So aggressive, forceful, and sometimes overly assertive in the pursuit of one's aims and interests. Well, by definition, that don't really sound bad. By definition, it says aggressive, forceful, and sometimes overly assertive in the pursuit of one's aims and interests. Guilty? Sometimes I need to be aggressive. Sometimes I have to be aggressive. Who's going to speak up for me if I'm not in the moment that I need to be? Now, I sure as hell ain't telling you to go around the world being aggressive all the time and being on guard. That's not what I'm saying. But I am saying when it's time to speak up for yourself, whatever comes up and comes out is likely what is needed at the time. Stop judging yourself by the definitions that other people have placed on these ways of being. It doesn't mean that you're being negative. It doesn't mean that you're being bad. It could mean you're simply being assertive. That's a word that corporate America does a little bit better with. Well, it's okay to be assertive. Assertive, by definition, having or showing a confident and forceful personality. Well, I've got that going on just about all the time. So am I always assertive? I wouldn't necessarily say that about myself by definition, but I qualify. So when you're being too much of any of these things, kids, cover your ears. They say, oh, you're being a bitch. By definition, of course, we know the real definition, but in the dictionary, it says, express displeasure or grumble. Well, that sounds like the least of the things I just described by definition, doesn't it? Express displeasure or grumble. Or having confidence and showing sometimes a forceful personality, or assertive, forceful, and sometimes overly assertive in the pursuits of one's aims or interests. Any of that you mix up is who you need to be at any particular moment. The modifications that you need to make are about being your best person, showing up to say what you mean what you say, and then embody the person that you want to be seen as at all times. So no woman wants to be seen as aggressive or being a bitch all the time. No. But when that needs to come out, men, you cannot condemn a woman and tell her, oh, you're being too aggressive, or oh, you were too assertive, or oh, you were too anything. Because we do not speak up for ourselves at large. Yes, there are those few women who might qualify for Omarosa quality aggressiveness with voice and tone and all the time. But that's not who we all are. And at the moment that my voice may change doesn't mean that I'm being disrespectful. It simply means that in this moment, this is what the situation calls for me and how for me to react. That doesn't make me bad. That doesn't make me wrong. But we have, been given so many reasons that we have to conform to get along that sometimes we no longer have the fight in our voice to defend ourselves when necessary. So why didn't Ariana Grande back elbow the preacher on the stand at the Aretha Franklin funeral? Because we've all been taught, just suck it up, do what you can, and get out of the situation as quickly as you can. Why is this woman on the grandest stage of life right now telling a story about being sexually assaulted? And why are we making definitions of what is sexual assault and is this okay and is that okay? Why? Because we have not used our voice enough. at the time, at the moment when we needed to, because people have told us, oh, that's too aggressive. You don't want to be aggressive, or, oh, you don't want to be a bitch, or, oh, you don't want to say anything. You don't want to ruffle the feathers. You don't want to lose your job. You don't want to mess up your situation at church. You don't want to mess up your community thing. But how much of that has authentically taken away a piece and a part of who you are for how you need to use your voice at any given time? It isn't that we're always fighting it. It isn't that we're always in a battle. But it is always true that whether a stranger on the street or the person we spend the most time with, when something offends me, I am given the right to my natural reaction to that thing. Now, overreactive, extra reactive, no, I'm not talking about any of that. But I am talking about the ability to express natural reaction to whatever might be going on at the time is imperative for your sanity. I recently met with a woman who had cocooned herself, a beautiful woman, a gorgeous woman who had cocooned herself because she had been hurt. And so she has not allowed herself to experience life with other people because of a hurt. How many of us have muted ourselves because we were hurt and we don't want that to happen again, or we were told don't do that, and we have become quiet. We have no voice. Now, I know that's not everybody, and I know that's not anybody all the time, but I can tell you from personal experience that there was a time in 2017, not that long ago, that I had lost my voice and my fight because I was told I was being too aggressive. I was told that my tone, that my tones were out of line. Well, I needed to stand up and defend myself a little bit more than I was at the time. But I muted myself because I didn't want to fight. I didn't want to appear to be aggressive. I didn't want to be too assertive. And at all costs, I didn't want nobody to say I was being a bitch. And so I shut down and went inside of myself to protect myself. I was still working and doing all of these things and being everything I needed to be everywhere else. But in this one situation, I became mute. And if 1 year ago I could become mute, I know that this has happened to many of you. And I know that somebody listening to my voice right now is being mute right now in a situation that you absolutely know is pissing you off, in a situation that you are dealing with and holding internally because you don't want to be labeled, you don't want to be angry, you don't want to be mad. And I know at all costs nowadays, certainly no one wants to be the angry black woman. Because as the angry black woman, now you fit all of these categories and all of these definitions and all of this neck rolling. Well, guess what? Sometimes neck rolling is necessary. Sometimes speaking your truth is your only path to freedom. Sometimes using your voice is all you have to protect or defend yourself. And damn it, Coach Mo says, use it. To whatever degree is required at the time. You do not have to be all of this at one time. But at the time that you need to be it, pick the right one and be that. For in 2018, there is no time to not defend yourself. There's no time to not stand up for yourself. There's no time to not authentically be you. And so whatever that is, you blame it on me. You say, Coach Mo told me that if I need to speak up for myself, I could get loud if I have to. Well, guess what? I'm loud when I'm happy. So how am I not be loud when I'm passionate? That don't make me aggressive. That makes me exactly me, just having something to say. And because I have something to say that you might not like to hear, sure as hell doesn't mean I should keep it to myself. It does not. But how many of us have become quiet? And that's not just women. Men do the same thing, trying to keep the peace, trying to be okay. And then They become introverted in a way that makes the relationship go south, and now she's being aggressive and and all of these things, because we're not being authentic in the moment that we need to be authentic. We're not being honest. So I need for all of us to be willing to speak up for ourselves at the time that it is necessary to do so. And whether you pick aggression, assertiveness, or being a bitch, just do it. Deal with the consequences later, but free yourself from having said exactly what was on your mind. Because you have to have a filter and you have to have tact, and those things are very important. But you can maintain your filter and your tact when you speak authentically. It's when we get so backed in a corner that we haven't defended ourselves for so long that then we come out swinging and we ain't got no filter then. So you're better off by speaking your truth at the time that it is necessary to speak it. Because if you don't, it is not setting up dis-ease in the other person. If you don't speak your mind, it is setting up dis-ease in your body. The other person is unbothered, likely have gone on and not thought twice about what they told you to do or not to do, to say or not to say, to be or not to be. But speaking up for ourselves is paramount, particularly right now. Because some men are really asking the question, so tell me, what is inappropriate? Is it okay if I put my hand here? Is it okay if I put my hand here? Is it okay if I touch you like this? Every woman's definition might be different. But if anybody listening to me is wondering, my definition is anything in my personal space is off limits unless invited in. And if you're unsure about what my personal space is, it is the space around my body. It is any hand that might touch the small of my back. It is any hand that might touch my shoulder. It is any hand that might be anywhere on me, unasked, unrequested, and not in the form of a hug. This is not difficult, but we have not been vocal enough and we have not been saying anything. We just been and trying to wiggle our way out of it. We've done that long enough, ladies. So don't wait 30 years like Dr. Ford to be in somebody's red chair and speak up for yourself. Say, I heard Rise and Shine on the 3-year anniversary, October 1st, and Coach Mo told me that I had to speak up for myself and defend myself, or at very least, say what's on my mind and on my heart to free myself. So, ladies, watch your tone, but watch it and make sure it is exactly what you mean it to be. I don't care what it is, just mean it to be that. But yes, do watch it. Watch it to know, oh, that was powerful. You go, girl. Watch it to know, oh, I'm so glad I said something. I feel free. Watch your tone. Absolutely. Watch your tone to make sure that you delivered the message exactly as you meant it to be. Free yourself, because the other person might really need to understand exactly what you're saying. You not hiding behind who you don't want to be. I'm not interested in who you don't want to be. I want to know who you want to be. I want to know how you want to be. I want to see you show up in the world, opening doors, knocking them down, and showing your true, authentic self. And so many of us are so sweet and warm and cuddly on the inside. We don't like to have to be aggressive or assertive or be a bitch. We don't like it. But when it's necessary, baby, bye. I pulls it all out because I need to be understood. I need to be heard. And I have no time. This girl, absolutely no time for keeping my peace to myself, because it does not give me any peace. Come on. So it's Monday. Get out in the world. It's October. I want you to aggressively attack your dreams and your goals. If you are in my goal groups or in my Year of Yes and you've not sent me your October goals, let's get on it. I got a fresh pen and paper right here to work on mine. I come to do these lessons because some of these things have not been said that need to be said, and nobody's given us permission to be authentically ourselves. Somehow that's never come up in any of the life learning lessons, school learning lessons. Ain't been in no lessons anybody's ever taught me. So I'm here to teach you, because it is the only way to free yourself is to be you and be okay with who you are in every moment of every day. So get out in the world and choose your version of yourself. Choose it wisely. Choose it with power. Choose it with nothing but sheer authentic joy. Mwah! Have a great day, a wonderful week. Happy October. And to myself, and thank you for the love. This 3 years of doing this call has been amazing, because it was an idea in my head of a way to reach people who could not get to the red chair, who could not afford the red chair, who are not ready for the red chair, but still want something. And the fact that every time I turn this thing on to go there and do this, you are there. You are part of my manifestation, and you are a part of my dream, because I only do this because you show up. So keep showing up and keep sharing these messages, because they are getting around and the message is spreading. And there's this lady who says these things on Facebook Live, and people say they changed their lives. I'm going to keep saying it, and you keep letting your life be changed. Mwah. Have a great day, everybody.